Hey, 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 it is an unstoppable day. It's your boy, Terrence, the unstoppable Coach Leffridge, coming to you live with another episode of the Unstoppable Story Show. Yes, Unstoppable Stories, where we talk to ordinary people with unstoppable stories. It's the first episode of the 2021 season, so welcome. Come on in, like and share. Come on in, like and share. We're going to take a couple of minutes to make sure that we are live and in person. Hey, 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 it is an unstoppable day. Yep, we're live and in person. You heard me there. You heard that host say it's an unstoppable day. So thank you so much. Come on in, like and share it with a friend. We're also going to put it out to some groups real quick. We've got a great first episode for the 2021 season. It's an episode that is really taking me outside of my comfort zone, and it's probably going to take you outside of yours as well if you allow it to. See, we're talking about a very sensitive topic today. And it's a topic that here in the Western world, especially in the United States, it's something that we take for granted. But in other parts of the world, it is something that is a devastating and unnecessary way of life, unfortunately. And what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about a campaign called the Pad a Girl campaign. A Pad a Girl campaign. And it's by this phenomenal young brother that I met over social media that is doing great things on the continent of Africa to help with this unnecessary problem. And in a nutshell, and I'll let him explain it more in detail when we bring it up, it's a simple thing. You know, girls, women here in the United States, they have their menstrual cycle and they have issues with bleeding, and it's a normal occurrence. You bleed, you go to the store, you get some uh, sanitary napkins, you get some pads, you take care of the situation, you go on with life. You know, you see these commercials here where women have their period and they're swimming and they're going on trips and they're having great outings, and it's la 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 because they're protected. Well, that's not the situation when you go across the pond or across the ocean. Uh, when that same menstruation period comes in the life of a young girl or a young woman in Africa, it's fought with consternation, it's wrought with shame and embarrassment, and it becomes a challenge that not only affects them physically, but affects them mentally and affects their everyday life. So the things that we take for granted here on this side of the pond are a necessary need and action across the pond. And we're going to talk about it today. We're going to shed light on this issue with our friend and my mentee. His name is Bala Stanley Mani, Dr. Stanley, as we like to call him. So let's welcome him to the stage on the Unstoppable Stories show. Mic check, Bala. How are you, sir? How are you,
I'm fine,
Stanley? How
thank
are
you.
you? Welcome to the Unstoppable Stories show. Why don't you
I'm fine, thank
tell our
you.
take a second and tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Hello, audience. Thank you for watching me. I appreciate you all. My name is Stanley Smiles Mani, and the full name is Stanley Bala Stanley Mani. I'm from Jos Plateau State, Nigeria, and I'm based in Jos in Plateau State, Nigeria. I'm a graduate of Special Education and Rehabilitation Science, ENT specialist, and also the He for She ambassador to the UN Women in my state, representing my state, and I'm working under the Ministry of Women Affairs in my state to advocate for girls' child, and also for to be able to stop all forms of violence among women and girls in my community and my state. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that information. And again, as you guys are coming in, we want to make sure that you let us know where you're watching us from. Let us know uh, if you're watching us live, put in the number one. If you're watching replay, put in the number two, because we definitely want to recognize you in this broadcast as we talk about this subject, the Pat a Girl campaign. And Stanley is the founder of the Pat a Girl campaign, in addition to what he does as a doctor in his community as an ear, nose, and throat specialist. So, how long have you been practicing, Stanley?
Uh, just about a year. I graduated 2019 and I started not long ago from the University of Jos.
Well, congratulations for that. So now
Thank you.
let's talk about the Pat a Girl campaign. What is the Pat a Girl campaign and what made you start this?
Okay. The Party Girl Campaign project is initiated to curb the ugly trend and to reinforce confidence of young girls to be proud of their menstrual cycle. The mission is to part 1 million girls and 1 million girls in Nigeria. Continuous, we've started this campaign from the south and the northeast and also the west region in Nigeria. We've reached out to schools, market, and rural communities, among others, which will have orphanage homes and IDP camps where we visit them. Well, the Part Again campaign initiative started when I was in my primary school days. We have issues of girls not comfortable in class during menstruation. Some of them make mockery of them. A lot of us usually laugh at them. Well, because that time it was teenage age girls and we have issues of girls not comfortable in class during menstruation. Some of them make mockery of them. A lot of us usually laugh at them because that time it was teenage
All right. So let's just say up front that Stanley is on live from the continent of Africa right now, and as what we talked about with this campaign that he's a part of, we take Wi-Fi as a normal occurrence over here, and over there it is something that it's a little bit harder to come by. So if he's breaking up, we're just going to ask him to log out and log back in. But luckily, thanks to technology, we are able to also give you more of a glimpse of Stanley and what the program is about. So while he's working to come back in, let's give you a little glimpse of what Stanley does with the Pat a Girl campaign.
Campaign initiative is an initiative to support the girls and the girl child in education. Statistics have shown that a lot of girls stay out of school because of their inability to access sanitary pad, and that affects their concentration sometimes in school and other places. So we brought this campaign initiative to be able to support the vulnerable girls, vulnerable women in vulnerable communities to have access to free sanitary pad, and also we create awareness in educating the girl child about menstrual hygiene and also supports them with sanitary pad so that they should have a free and a sound menstrual hygiene system. The Part A Girl Child campaign has been affected economically because of the issues of funding. At most times, do we have difficulties in accessing funds to reach out to more vulnerable girls, vulnerable women in vulnerable communities. We're soliciting for support that we can be able to get more funding to take this awareness to more vulnerable communities and more vulnerable groups, so that we'll be able to see that more girls and more women are being met with the needs of having free and accessible sanitary pad. So far, we have reached to more than 1,000 girls in rural communities, both in public and private schools within our communities and my state in Plateau State. And I've also reached out to others in other states, neighboring states, and other vulnerable communities that we're able to reach with the little funding and support that we're able to get from friends and associates to fund and support the campaign initiative. I will appreciate any form of funding and support that we get from international organizations, NGO, and civil society that are willing to support this campaign initiative to be able to reach out to more girls in vulnerable communities. We have a lot of girls who are bent on using rags, and which affects their menstrual hygiene. It exposes them to so many danger, vaginal mutilation, and then we're trying to see that they stop that. So we want to continue with this campaign to reach out to more vulnerable communities to keep supporting them so that they don't go back to using rags that may expose them to cervical cancer and other vaginal issues. That is why we're soliciting for support to keep funding, and also we reach out to so many communities. It's a campaign that we're not going to stop or do once and stop. We want to continue to do it so that it will be something that we'll continue to do it regularly to see that more girls in vulnerable communities have access to menstrual hygiene.
So there you have it. There, the Pat a Girl campaign by our friend Bala Stanley Manny. He's helping women across the country, across the continent of Africa, with this problem that is something that literally I absolutely knew nothing about, and we are continuing to try to get him back into our feed. But while we're doing that, let's talk about some of the things he said. Women, young girls, they're affected. They don't go to school for weeks at a time because they don't have the sanitary napkins or the pads necessary so that they can be clean and can be healthy and not have any occurrences happen while they're in class. So what kind of effect is that happening? They're not getting the necessary learning. So they're not only being affected physically, they're also being affected mentally. Uh, they're not getting the socialization that they need because they're not in class. So they're not around their friends, and because of the possible shame that could come up as a result of having an accident while you're in the community or while you're out in the classroom. So their socialization is being affected, and more importantly, their spirit is being affected because it's having a menstrual cycle is a normal, natural thing. It is a part of the evolution of womanhood. It is something that is a natural thing, just like breathing for women. But the shame associated with it is something that is more devastating to these women. And we want to do our part to bring an end to that. And it's another way is that it was also a way of not having access to these basic necessities. It was a way in some of these countries of keeping women down, keeping them in discrimination. There was luxury taxes, believe it or not, luxury taxes that were placed upon these basic necessities of sanitary napkins so that in one way or another they couldn't afford them, therefore they wouldn't use them, and therefore it was a way of keeping women down, and that is just devastating. As we attempt to bring Stanley back into the conversation, mic check, Stanley, can you hear us? Okay, he's going to try to come back in again. So, for many years, this luxury tax was placed upon them, and some of these taxes were as high as 25% tax on a package of pads. It's just crazy, and some we found that those were finally repealed in 2018 in South Africa, New Zealand, and parts of Australia. So that just shows you how long this type of discrimination has been going on in these other countries. Stanley, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming back as we welcome Diamond Queen to the broadcast. Hello, Diamond Queen. Lynn Meyer from Texas. She says she's loving your campaign. Looking forward to hearing more about it. So we
Thank you.
played your video, and you said when did you start this campaign?
I started this campaign 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I started,
Okay.
yeah, 2 years ago.
And why was it placed upon your heart to do this?
Okay, just as I was saying, while I was growing up in primary school during my high school days, we didn't know much about menstruation, but we have seen a lot of girls in our classes during menstruation not being comfortable in class. Some of them sometimes get stained in blood, and then we make mockery of them. We use it sometimes as the way of mocking them. But I decided to say, no, there's something that we need to do about staying in blood in the school. So I took it upon myself. I wanted to investigate to know what this thing was all about. I went back home, met my mother, and asked my mother a few questions about why do girls get stains in blood. So she sat me down and told me about it. She told me about it that if these things that ladies are the blood signifies that ladies are productive, they can be able to take in and give birth to give birth. So she sat me and told me about it. I was like, oh, okay, so there's no way to be shy about this because it is something that is really helpful. So I went back to the same school, told the other boys that we were together, that we're always laughing at the girls together, talked to them about it, and they understood what we were saying. So sometimes we started this when we're in school. Sometimes when we get pocket money from our parents, we get money. If the lady is in stain, we usually take her to where the clothes buy store to buy sanitary pads and give it to her. That was how I started. So I started from there and I picked interest and I started doing it. I see my sisters doing that too, and I decided to help. That was how I started helping. And then I learned that statistics have shown that a lot of girls stay off school for a whole week due to their inability during menstruation, due to their inability to access resources to buy sanitary pads every month. Thereby is affecting their time and concentration in school, which is true. During my high school days, I've seen them not being comfortable in class, always being shy because of their stain in blood. Sometimes some of them don't go home when they are stained. They will close school. Sometimes they allow everybody to leave school before they leave during closing time because they feel they are ashamed and they are stained in blood. So that was how I started.
Wow. Okay. So basically, you had to get an education from your mom to understand that this was not a laughing matter. This was something that, as men and as boys, that you should be supportive of your fellow classmates and other women in the community as a result of this situation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow. Well, they say sometimes it takes a woman to educate a man. So there you go. So how difficult was it to take that conversation from your mom and now share that conversation with your fellow male classmates and friends?
Well, it wasn't difficult for me because I used to be the smartest and then the most chatty in my class. I make a lot of noise when I was in high school. So I don't know, I was a funny type that everybody liked to associate with because I tell people whatever it is, I tell them and I don't get scared or afraid of them. So I met my mom. I was like, "Excuse me, mom, I need to ask you some questions. There are certain things I need to know about. Why do girls get stains in blood?" And she was like, "What?" The mothers, of course, African mothers, there's how they give their children look. She gave me that look, but I wasn't afraid. So I asked her and she told me, she sat me down and told me. So when I went back to the school the next day, I was told that every lady you see stained in blood is a woman. That means she's capable of giving birth and then she's fit to give birth to a baby boy. So you see, if you laugh at her, you're laughing at the mother. So we should not laugh at them. Rather, we should embrace them. We should give them the support we need to give and help them to come out of it. And that was how I did it. And I was able to tell them about issues of some of our guys during high school, when sometimes you they make the ladies as well make fun of guys who get erected in classes. So so I was able to tell them, as we men don't get we men don't get confused, or as we men don't get ashamed of erection, so do girls don't get ashamed of menstruation. So I told them about it,
Yeah,
and they were
yeah.
happy and they understood with me. Yes, because sometimes in class you see a situation whereby before you realize, you see your fellow guy has already been erected in class, and the ladies will be laughing, and then it becomes a laughing issue for whatsoever reason. So I used that to tell them, and they understood very well with me. So we became something that we didn't laugh at any girl in our class during menstruation. Rather, we buy sanitary pad to support her, help her, and take her home sometimes. Thank you.
I love it. So you were able to relate it to something that happens naturally in the life of a man or a boy, and relate it to what happens
Yes.
naturally in the life of a girl or a woman. Very, very, very good.
Yes.
I love that. Now let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about why this is such a need in your community. I said at the beginning of the show that here in the Western world, in the states, uh, when the period comes, they can go to the grocery store, they can go to the pharmacy, they can go practically anywhere, get the items that they need to take care of the situation, and they go on with life without a problem, whether they're going to work, whether they're going to school, whether they're going on vacation. What is the situation like in your communities when a girl or a woman has their period come? What do they have to do in order to get access to the necessary uh, equipment?
Okay. First of all, most of the girls in my community, in my states, sometimes during menstruation, they end up having stomach issues. They feel pains. And then sometimes, most of them, people from rural communities are comfortable using racks. So most of the people here use racks, which we decided to say, no, this is unhygienic for you to use racks. Some of them use racks that are not even clean, they are dirty, and it is unhygienic for them. It will expose their vaginal to so many issues. So we decided to say, no, we need to part girls. And then as we are parting girls, we discovered that the sanitary pad here in Nigeria are more expensive. Like they don't give it for free to every girl. You must have to buy, and it's very expensive. You get a pack of 12, a pack with 6 sanitary pads in it. You get it for 5,000 naira. Just a pack. Just a pack with 6 packs in it. 6 people can't afford buying the sanitary pad. We have a lot of issues of poverty here in Nigeria. Economic, it's affected with a lot of issues, and then we have people buying 6 pads for 5,000 naira and above. It's expensive, so we decided to come up with this issue to be able to help them, and then we also educate them on how to stop using racks and to embrace using sanitary pads.
All right, so we're having a little bit of a Wi-Fi breakup. So Stanley, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So what I want you to do is, because you broke up a little bit, I want you to go back and talk about the cost of one pad and the cost of a package of pads. And then if you know, can you say how much that is in US dollars versus the dollars of your country?
Okay. I didn't know much about the. Okay, a dollar here in Nigeria, it's for 450. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, should be 450 naira
Okay.
per $1. Yeah. So sanitary pad, you can get a pack of 6 that has 6 in it. Each pack has about 12 to 13 pieces in it. So it's a
Uh-huh.
dozen. Yeah. So in a pack of a dozen now, you get it about a 6 pack, 6 pieces in a pack of a dozen now is 5,000 naira. So you can imagine if it's a dollar is 450 in Nigeria, I think 5,000 should be Olga. Statistics. We have to
So it's
calculate
like
that and then get back to you.
it's like if it's $5,000 there, and you said it's the dollar is about $400, then we're looking at about $20 a package, then, huh?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
$20 a
Wow.
package, yeah.
Okay.
So you see, it's
Okay.
very expensive, and a lot of girls can't afford that. We have girls in IDP camps who are affected by war, issues of insecurity, banditry, killings, and all that. We have issues of children in orphanage homes who don't have parents, and then we have a lot of orphanage homes here in this country that are not uh, good enough for children to have a better life. Some of the orphanage homes are just to help them get a roof under their head, but not to be satisfied. And then also we have Market Square, we have schools. These are the places we visit and support them with sanitary pads and educate them. We visit schools, market squares, we visit orphanage homes and IDP camps. These are the four places we do our awareness campaign from. We educate them about menstruation because we all know that menstruation is a dream killer for most girls as they are unable to attend school during menstruation. And on the other hand, those who cannot afford a good menstruation pad rely on old rags and tissue papers. A lot of them use tissue papers as alternative. And then this is denied the detrimental health. This is detrimental health impact faced by poor girls and women due to these unhygienic practices. So using tissue is unhygienic practices. So we're telling them not to use old rags, dirty rags, and tissue papers because tissue papers they are unhygienic practices. They're detrimental to health impact in their life. So that is why we're
Wow.
doing this campaign.
Okay. So tell me, how often are you doing the education piece? How often are you doing it? Once a week, once a month? How often are you going into these villages and schools talking about education?
Okay. We usually select. We have 17 local government in my state across campaign to about 6 states currently in Nigeria. We have the Northeast. We have the Hausa Fulani site, which we have more of the vulnerable communities there. And then we have extended. So we have Kaduna, we have Kano, we have Gombe, we have Nasarawa State and Bauchi State, then Plateau. So we have extended to 6 states, including Plateau. That makes it seven. So what we do, we educate them about how to use sanitary pad and how to use not we tell them not to use tissue papers because they are unhygienic practice. We tell them not to use old rags because it affects and then it might affect their vaginal to brings a lot of issues. We tell them not to be using all sorts of things because it might expose them also to cervical cancer as well. So we telling them to use sanitary pads, and then we're telling them a lot of ladies in the rural communities don't even know how to use sanitary pad. That is why we teach them how to use sanitary pad. As you can see from one of the pictures I sent you, you can see a picture of one of my team lady. She was putting something in the sanitary pads to signify how they can be able to use it. So we tell them how to use it, and how to also protect themselves from uh, menstruation. And we also tell them not to be ashamed whenever they find themselves in such a situation. Rather, they should reach out to people that are close by to support them because this is not something that you shy away from. It just like I said earlier, as men have erection, so do
Yes.
women have menstruation. Yeah. So in public, so they should not be afraid to do that. They should also help to reach out to other people to support them as well. Thank you.
So are you going into those six areas every week, or how often are you going in with this education?
Okay, the sixth state I'm going every month, but
Okay.
for my yeah for every month because it is something that needs a framework. You have a team that would support you. You need to keep record of everything. You need to get the team members, inform them ready. You need to transport them. You need to transport the sanitary pads, lots of things. So if we keep on doing it weekly, we might not meet up to the point because we have issues of transporting sanitary pads We have team members that will transport them to go there as well. We have to send letters to their district heads, their district head, their head of the traditional rulers over there. If we're visiting a school in the community, we need to notify the traditional rulers in those communities that we're coming to do something. They will have to give us approval and dates to come. They will give us a venue, and they are the ones to communicate their people, because most of them, some of them, we don't understand their languages. So we only reach out to the people. If you're coming to a particular community which is dominated by Christians, we reach out to the pastors in churches. We have reverend fathers in churches to be able to communicate to the people through the Women Fellowship Association in the church. And then if you're visiting the Muslim communities as well, we communicate to their imam, the person in charge of the mosques. We communicate to them, and they see how to reach out to the people, the traditional rulers and district heads of those communities, to speak to them and then tell them where to meet us. So they will tell them where to meet us and then give us venue, date, and time that we were able to convey ourselves to the environment to do whatever we're here to do. So sometimes we get interpreters if they don't understand English or Hausa, because we use Hausa, both Hausa and English. So if they don't understand that, we use an interpreter from the community to interpret them. That is what we do. So we do it
Wow.
every month. Yeah,
Okay.
every month. Yes,
So
sir.
it sounds like a massive undertaking, Stanley. How many people are working with you directly on this campaign?
Okay, the people I have in my team are 5 people. I have 5 people. And then with me we have six. So I have 3 girls and 2 boys. The 3 girls are in charge of educating the girls on how to use sanitary pad and other female issues that doesn't concern the male as well. And then we have the 2 male that are associated with me. They are the one in charge of the men can do the giant work of course. So they are in charge of transporting, bringing out the sanitary pad from bags and all that we can be able to share to the children after the girls might have educated them on how to use the sanitary pad. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So now, again, you guys, you're watching the Unstoppable Stories show with our special guest, Bala Stanley Mani. He is the founder of the Patta Girl program in Africa. We're going to give you some more information on how you can assist him if you are so inclined to help with this campaign. But I'm going to say it to you, Stanley. I was skeptical when you first reached out to me because I don't know you from a can of paint. And I'm sure people who are
Yes.
watching this show now, they don't know you either. And before anyone gives with their wallet, they want to know who the person is that they're giving to, and they want to know the results that you've gotten from it. So, walk us through the process from the time someone gives you a donation to the time that you are distributing the actual uh, napkins, pads, and the education. How does that work? What's your system?
Okay. What we do, sometimes we write letters and reach out to the government officials in terms of soliciting for support. We write letters and submit to organizations that are within our communities and our states. And then sometimes some of them go through these letters and invite us to speak as well, to tell them what we do. So sometimes we tell them what we do, and then some of them support us. Some support us through cash, some give us cash through envelope, some give us cash through our bank account. I do not I have not I do not have an official account for the campaign as yet, because most of the funding are coming directly from the I didn't have the account, the campaign account. So I am using my own account to for finance everything. So sometimes I give them my own account, and then they send the money. I collect their phone number. So each of the things we do, we send them pictures to see what we do. We send them pictures, and then some of them have received support from one of my friend who was he's based in Mexico. He saw what I was doing as well. We met on social media. He saw what I was doing as well and decided to support me. He supported me through Western Union transfer. He sent the money through Western Union, I went to my bank and I was able to. He told me the code and what he sent the money to, address as well as so many things I sent him. So I went to the bank and I was able to cash the money. So I cashed the money, bought the sanitary pad, took the pictures, took video. I did video of the sanitary pad when I bought them. I kept them in a room. Did a video of what I bought, and now send it to him on his WhatsApp. He saw it and he was amazed with it. So he said, okay, that is okay. That was just what he needed from me to just see if I was able to buy what he gave money for. So what that was what he did. So a lot of people send us some people send us money through Western Union. Some send us through our bank account here in Nigeria, and some give us cash. When sometimes they called us to come to their offices, and then they give us cash in envelope to support our program. So
Okay.
we do yes.
So if someone wanted to donate to your campaign, they could do it through Western Union. They could do it
Yes.
directly to, they could send something directly to your bank account, or they could send cash.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Ye- Yes.
Okay. And we know as this campaign continues to expand that you will be setting up that uh, uh, bank account specifically for the campaign, because you know as
Yes.
you get more and more people who want to support your campaign, they want to see that all the logistics are in place so that they feel comfortable that the money that they're sending is getting to the pad purchase and getting to the education of those women. Is that correct?
Yes, we're currently working on a website for the campaign. We're currently working for a Facebook page for the campaign. We're currently working for on well on the account for the campaign as well. So the more we get more support and funding, the more we continue to officially open those accounts, a website, Facebook pages, so that people, our donors out there, can be able to see what we do and see what we do with the funding that we get from the campaign. Because all these things that so a lot of it has to go through a lot of processes. So in Nigeria, the processes are not easy going. So we have to we're currently on undergoing a registration for the campaign as well, to be registered as well. And then we're currently working to see that is so as soon as we're done registering, we'll open a website. As we're done, we'll open a Facebook page, and then we'll see how to be able to reach out to so many people. Thank you.
Okay. And now, when you receive the funds, are you going to like your local store to buy the pads, or are you working with some actual manufacturers of the pads to where are you getting the product from?
Okay, we have ShopRite here in the country. We have ShopRite, we have supermarkets. So sometimes
Okay.
if I get the funding, so I go to the supermarket to purchase the parts from. So from the supermarket.
Okay. I does the
Yeah,
shop
so
right
I
in the go ahead.
yeah, so I buy from the ShopRite and then get a van to transport it from the ShopRite to my residence, of course, to keep them before working on the designated place where I will be distributing the parts to. So this is
Okay.
what we do. Yeah.
Does the supermarket or the shop right, are they aware of your campaign and have they donated to your cause?
Yes, the supermarket I usually buy, the CEO is not always on board. So sometimes I usually buy. So apparently last year, I met him when I went there. He met me and was like, "You are the one that always buys sanitary pad." I was like, "Okay, yes." He asked why I was always buying it. He was surprised. A guy is always buying sanitary pad, so he got curious. So he decided to ask me. He said, "Hey, you a guy. Why are you always buying sanitary pad? Where are you taking them to?" So I explained to him, and he was amazed. He gave me about a dozen, about two free, and he said he was amazed of what I was doing. So I think that was what he was able to do. So some of the
Okay.
days I didn't, yeah. So
And
that is
I
what
gotta
messed up.
admit, that's what intrigued me about your story. That again, a guy is doing this. You know, most guys here, if their girlfriend or if their wife asks them to go to the store and buy some pads, you know, that's not gonna happen. But you are going on a monthly basis buying bulk supplies and you're handing them out of the goodness of your heart. That is amazing. That's commendable. And we actually have a someone watching, Muriel Tulakima from Australia. She says, "Thank you so much to you, Stanley, and your team to dedicate your time and resources to address this problem. You are a real he for she." So that brings up the
Thank you so much.
yes, that brings up the other topic. You're also a he for she ambassador. Talk a little bit about that and how that ties into what you're doing with the Patta Girl campaign.
Okay. Uh, I became he for she when I was in the university. When I was in the university, I was into student unionism as well. So along the line, as we were into student unionism, a girl I didn't know got raped. A girl I didn't know was raped. So she was raped, and I decided to speak against that. I took that personally to make sure that the girl got justice. And that was what we did. The girl later got justice. So people were amazed with what I did. I organized a campaign against rape in my state because of what happened to the girl. The girl was able to speak out on radio. A lot of radio organizations featured the lady, and she was given justice. So I decided to come up with an idea for young men. I educated them on how to stop rape. Rape is not good. I did that personally because I have a sister. And if I'm not doing it because I have a sister, I have a mother. And if I'm not doing because I have a mother, I should know that one day I will give birth to somebody molesting my own daughter because of what I didn't do yesterday. So I stood up to fight this issue because I did it to support my mother, my sister, and my unborn daughter. And even not my unborn daughter, my wife to be married yet. So I don't know if she might be a victim of rape. So what you need to do right now, you need to stand up and do anything that you need to do to support, to make sure you stand, so that posterity will always forgive me for what I did. So I stood up to fight this issue. So a lot of issues, guys were insulting me that I'm a guy, but I'm fighting issues of rape. I'm a guy, but I'm fighting issues of rape. I took it personal. I told them, yes, I have a sister, and if I don't, and then my sister will one day marry. I will also one day marry and have a daughter. All these things I'm doing for the future. I'm not doing it because I'm doing it for the lady, but I'm doing it for the future, so that my girl should not be. So we need to break the cycle because rape is actually becoming a cycle. If we don't break the cycle of rape, sometime, someday, my wife will be a victim, my daughter will be a victim. So I stood up and I did, and they decided to appoint me as he for she ambassador to the State Women Ministry of Women Affairs. So they appointed me as the he for she ambassador to the State Women Ministry of Women Affairs. So they appointed me as the he for she ambassador. I'm working with the Commissioner for Women Affairs in my state. And since then, we have been working tirelessly to see that issues of human trafficking, rape, issues of child molestation, wife battery, and other violence among women and girls are being put to stop. So this is how it all started till date. Thank you.
Well, that is definitely an unstoppable story, and it really speaks to the heart of Stanley and how you've taken these issues in internally, and you're doing your part to make a difference for the women in your community. So I definitely thank you for that, and I thank you for bringing this story to my attention and allowing me to use my platform to bring it to the attention of others who may just be taking this for granted. And so I'm hoping that this video is going to blow up and that people are going to be reaching out to you and they're going to be helping with your campaign. So how can they, well, before I even ask that question, here's the other question that I know you're going to get. So I need you to address this head on. Stanley, why should anyone donate to your cause when there's so many other campaigns within your country and your continent that are doing the same thing? Why should they donate to you?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. Well, yeah, actually, we have a lot of people doing the same campaign. But one thing I would like our viewers to understand and our donors to understand is there in everything you do, there must be somebody who is doing it for the sake of doing it and to enrich himself. And then we have people that are actually doing it because they have passion to do it. I want every viewers to judge that between themselves. We have people, a lot of people who are doing what they do because they want to do it, to enrich themselves and just to do it for pleasure. But and when we have other people who are doing whatever they want to do because they have passion to do it to help humanity. So I am telling my viewers and donors today that if they trust their trust in me, I will also be honest to them and also work hand in hand with them to see that a lot of girls, vulnerable women in my communities have been met their need to have a free menstrual hygiene system. I am not doing this because I want to do it, or I'm not doing this because I want to enrich myself. No, I am doing this because I have passion for this. As if you have heard my story from the beginning, you should know that all these things I'm doing because I have passion to help the young girls and women in my community. I am always saddened with the situations whereby I see a lady in menstruation and then she has not been able to have help. We have a lot when we celebrated the International Day of Cancer a few weeks ago. We have a lot of issues of girls with cervical cancer. Most of these girls that have cervical cancer didn't know how they got them from. But in my state, we have a lot of issues of girls who are using tissue and rags. Some of them, and the rags they use, they are not clean rags, they're dirty rags. And then you all should know that all these things are unhygienic practices. You should know that all these things are unhygienic practices for a lady to use tissue during menstruation and to also use rags during menstruation. So I am soliciting for your support to trust me on this one, and I'm willing to work out with good results to show you all the viewers watching this. I am doing this because I have passion to do it and to help humanity. Thank you so much.
Well said. So now, are you accepting donations of any amount, or is there a certain amount that you're looking for? What's the goal for the campaign this year?
Okay. The goals for the campaign this year is to reach out to 1 million girls. That is our mission. Because the Part Again campaign project, like I said, is initiated to curb the ugly trend and to reinforce confidence of girls to be proud of their menstrual cycle. The mission is to part 1 million girls in South and the Northeast and also the Southwest region in Nigeria. So we reach out to schools, markets, and rural communities, among others, orphanage homes, and IDP camps. So we're soliciting for support to reach more women because a lot of COVID-19 has affected a lot of activities in our country. A lot of people are living in poverty. We are not doing this now to be basically on part. We are doing it also to support the vulnerable with food items because we cannot be talking about sanitary pad and giving sanitary pad to people who are hungry. We need to also support those who are hungry because you can see if somebody is hungry, he will not even care about his menstruation system because he doesn't have food to eat. So he is hungry. So we are not doing this because we just want to base on supporting with sanitary pad. We also support with food items as well. COVID-19 has affected a lot of people. We have a lot of people dying every day because of lack of food, living in hunger and all that. So we're working hand in hand to see that we support with food items as well as sanitary pads so that because we educate them. If you're educating someone with an empty stomach, the education would be wasted. You can't educate someone with an empty stomach and expect him to understand what you're telling him to do. So we need
Yeah.
to support them. So we're doing that to also support them. Those who are actually hungry and living in vulnerable communities, we support them with food, and then we talk about menstruation. We give them sanitary pad, and then we should be assured that they will use it wisely and well. But if you're hungry and we give them sanitary pad, some of them may end up selling it to get money to feed themselves. And our aim is not being met. I cannot struggle to get support from you people, support from people to buy sanitary pads, somebody to give, and then he decided to sell it out because he feels he needs food more than sanitary pad. So we're also doing this to help them. So that is what we're soliciting for support for. Our MDC is to support them with sanitary pads and food items, so that because we have a lot of them living in vulnerable communities that really need of food and other uh, uh, relief materials. Some of them don't even have clothes. Some of them don't even have food. Some of them don't even have a good health system. So all these things we need to attach with medical outreaches to be able to checkmate their health, to see what would they need to provide for them. Some of them we need to give them food to be able to understand our education, and then some of them we need to educate them on the menstruation system. So this is what this year is campaign is working hand in hand to do, to support more people, not just on sanitary part, but also on relief materials and food items. Thank you so much.
I love it. This is Bala Stanley Mani. He is the founder of the Pat of Girl campaign in Africa. And we here at the Unstoppable Stories Show, we're going to lend our support to you in this campaign. We are going to be spreading this infomercial, because that's really what it is. We're going to be spreading this across all of our social media platforms. I'll be connecting with some of my circle of influence to let them know about you and to let them know about your campaign. And hopefully we can help ramp up resources coming to you to help reach those 1 million women in Africa. Because like you said, we can't feed their mind with knowledge if they're hungry in their stomach and they're unhealthy in their body. So let's do what we can to promote health and uh, food sustenance in that community so that they can get back into the classroom and get that education so that they can be our future leaders and our future queens in your community and in the world. Now, you're saying the best way to reach out to you to continue this conversation is your email. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so we have placed his email on the screen. It's Bala Stanley Mani at gmail.com. Bala Stanley Mani at gmail.com. And so reach out to him to learn more about the Pat a Girl program, learn more about what he's doing in these communities to not only supply the communities with sanitary napkins and pads, but to also supply them with the education and the nourishment needed for them to grow up to be healthy, well, and sound. And so, thank you so much, Stanley, for coming on the show. Thank you so much for sharing this powerful information with us. Definitely, we are going to put it out to all of our ambassadors on the Unstoppable Stories show. Muriel was saying, amazing. Let's help the Pat a Girl campaign. Absolutely. And as we lose him, just like that, he wants to also add his phone number. So we will put that information up on the screen and in the comments. You can reach him on WhatsApp. He's also got a Facebook page. You can reach him under Dr. Stanley Smiles on Facebook. So we'll put that up on the screen. So there are many ways where you can reach out to him and get access to more information about this wonderful program that he has. So definitely reach out to him on his Facebook page, Dr. Stanley Smiles. You can also reach out to him on WhatsApp if you're a part of the international community. But whatever you do, reach out to him. This is a worthy program, and this is a wonderful gentleman who's doing great things in his community. So you definitely want to reach out to him. Let me see if we can pull him back, get the last word from him, and then we're going to play his video again as we close out the show. Stanley, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So as we close out the show, just give us a last word from you regarding the Pat a Girl campaign. Then we're going to play your video and we're going to close out the show that way. Okay, so we lost them again. So what we'll do, reach out to Stanley, reach out to the Pat a Girl campaign. You have the opportunity, you have the ability to make a difference in the lives of a child on the other side of the pond or in your own community. And recognize because of that ability, that makes you unstoppable. I'm Terrence, the Unstoppable Coach Leffridge, with another episode of the Unstoppable Stories Show with Terrence, where we talk to ordinary people with unstoppable stories. Make sure you reach out to us each and every week on the Unstoppable Stories Show. And who knows, you may be the next guest on the Unstoppable Stories Show. And as always, wherever you are in the world today, remember, don't just make it a great day. Go out and make an impact, make a difference, and help somebody you don't even know live an unstoppable life and make it an unstoppable day. Take care.
Hello everyone, my name is Stanley Mani. I'm from Jos Plateau State in Nigeria. I am the founder and convener of a campaign called Pat a Girl Child Initiative. The Pat a Girl campaign initiative is an initiative to support the girls and the girl child in education. Statistics have shown that a lot of girls stay out of school because of their inability to access sanitary pad, and that affects their concentration sometimes in school and other places. So we brought this campaign initiative to be able to support the vulnerable girls, vulnerable women in vulnerable communities to have access to free sanitary pad, and also we create awareness in educating the girl child about menstrual hygiene and also support them with sanitary pad so that they should have a free and a sound menstrual hygiene system. The Pat a Girl Child campaign has been affected economically because of the issues of funding. At most times, do we have difficulties in accessing funds to reach out to more vulnerable girls, vulnerable women in vulnerable communities. We're soliciting for support that we can be able to get more funding to take this awareness to more vulnerable communities and more vulnerable groups so that we'll be able to see that more girls and more women are being met with the need of having free and accessible sanitary pads. So far, we have reached to more than 1,000 girls in rural communities, both in public and private schools within our communities and my state in Plateau State. And I've also reached out to others in other states, neighboring states, and other vulnerable communities that we're able to reach with the little funding and support that we're able to get from friends and associates to fund and support the campaign initiative. I will appreciate any form of funding and support that we get from international organizations, NGO and civil society that are willing to support this campaign initiative to be able to reach out to more girls in vulnerable communities. We have a lot of girls who are bent on using rags and which affects their menstrual hygiene. It exposes them to so many danger, vaginal mutilation, and then we're trying to see that they stop that. So we want to continue with this campaign to reach out to more vulnerable communities to keep supporting them so that they don't go back to using rags that may expose them to cervical cancer and other vaginal issues. That is why we're soliciting for support to keep funding, and also we reach out to so many communities. It's a campaign that we're not going to stop or do once and stop. We want to continue to do it so that it will be something that we'll continue to do it regularly to see that more girls in vulnerable communities have access to menstrual hygiene.
So go ahead and reach out to Dr. Stanley now. Let me make a correction on that phone number. You can reach out to him at 234-706-219-1837. Again, that number is on the screen, or you can email him at balastanleymani@gmail.com. But either way, connect with him and let's make a difference with the Pat a Girl campaign. And again, I'm Terrence, the Unstoppable Coach Leffridge, with the Unstoppable Story Show, where we talk to ordinary people with unstoppable stories. And wherever you are in the world today, you know what I say. Don't just make it a great day, go out and make it an unstoppable day. Take care.